Oh, standing up is pretty wobbly, so that kind of makes this a little bit more easy, but here we go. Welcome back, everybody. So today we finally have done it and upgraded our personal flotation device. Under one of the videos that I asked for recommendations for that, I got plenty of responses saying, you know, the NRS Chinook is by far the best. And looking through the internet and doing some research, most of the internet agrees with that. So that's what we ended up getting. It's touted as the world's best kayaking PFD. Whether that's true or not, who knows? But they are pretty expensive. I think they're right around $160. You can't get them on sale. I think I got mine on a 4th of July sale and got it a little bit cheaper. But in all honesty, I guess as far as safety, the biggest thing about a PFD you want is something to be really comfortable to wear, because if you're not wearing it, it's not going to do you any good. So as long as it's comfortable enough for you to wear for those long trips, you know, that's probably going to be the most beneficial thing. Along with that, the number of features that come on this thing are absolutely absurd, and I didn't know a PFD could be that advanced or complicated. It's kind of crazy. So for the most part, it is a high back one, or it's for high back kayaks. So on old PFDs, or the other PFD that I have, there's just a consistent back plate, and that kind of rides up, kind of chokes you when you're sitting in the seat a little bit. Not necessarily chokes you, but it's uncomfortable, rides underneath your chin and whatnot. So this one is much more I guess elevated. There's nothing on your back, so you sit much further back in your seat in your kayak, which is supposed to lead to a bunch more comfortability. Along with that, they do have the straps that are sewn in, which is really nice, because on my old one, the straps, they kind of moved around and came underneath and whatnot and kind of dug in, so it wasn't the most comfortable. Along with that, we have just an insane number of pockets with all this. I mean, you have enough to keep terminal tackle, extra things, pliers. This is for a utility tool. That's for, I think, a knife of some sort. And then a bunch of attachments that you can add extra lines to. Also, they do have a little feature to where you can go ahead and attach a rod. If you're doing that, I'll never use it, but it looks fairly simple. So you put the rod butt in here, and then go ahead and this Velcro strap just holds the rest of it. So just kind of sits that across your chest like that. Again, nothing that I would probably ever use, but I'm sure somebody probably would. So along with that, it's supposed to be like a medium profile PFD. So it's supposed to be very, very nice for kayaking. And again, comfortability is the biggest thing, because if you're not wearing it, it's not going to help you. They've thought of everything. So they have holders for your straps in case you just have extra length. So you can go ahead and tuck it in there, which is phenomenal, because you don't want things getting in your way when you're trying to fish. So I absolutely love that. It seems like they've thought of everything as far as that goes. Zipper front. I am 6 foot 220. So I got the large, extra large. It looked like the extra large 2XL version was going to be absolutely ginormous. So this one looks like it's supposed to fit the best. With it being the #1 selling kayaking PFD, that's probably somewhat true, because these aren't always the easiest to find. There are a number of sites that I had to go looking to find a size and color that I wanted. So, but that is about it as far as all the features and everything else like that. We'll go ahead and throw her on, get out on the lake, fish with it a little bit, paddle around with it, see how comfortable it truly is, and then we'll probably end up seeing if it floats too. But if you guys have these, I know NRS has a bunch of other PFDs also that people like. There's one that has like a low profile back, so that there's not so much puffiness in, or padding, flotation, whatever you want to call it, in the back. It kind of has a back plate, but it's very, very thin. So I think it's kind of personal preference as to what you like more. I guess more features. They do have reflective tape on the back and straps too. Obviously if you're doing some, you know, late night or early morning fishing. But yeah, I think that's about it. So let's go ahead and toss her on and get out in the water and see how it does. I think as far as the PFD goes, I think it says that it's 16.5 pounds of flotation, which I don't exactly know what that means. I assume that's enough to keep you up. They do attach tons of paperwork as far as like safety and whatnot. And this is a PFD, so it's not a life jacket. So you do have to kind of keep your head above water. I don't think it'll flip you over or anything else like that. So always take that in consideration as to what you're buying and I guess what you're wanting. But let's get after it. So this is the life jacket on. We're out sitting down. In all honesty, even though being 6 foot 220, there's so much room in this, and I actually probably loosened it up just a little bit too much because I do like my PFD pretty tight to me, especially when I'm wearing the GoPro. But there's so much freedom in the arms. It honestly doesn't really feel like you're wearing much of anything. I was worried about the back of the neck just being so puffy that I wouldn't like it and whatnot, but I can't feel it at all. Can't even tell. And you do sit so much further back, probably, I would assume probably like an inch or inch and a half, sit further back in the seat, which is really nice. I actually had to adjust where my feet position because I do sit so much further back. So if you are having issues, you've got super long legs or something like that, you know, obviously switching over to this might give you a little bit extra room in your kayak too, which is always something that's nice. But I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. I absolutely love this thing. Before even doing much of anything, we only paddled around for about 10 or 15 minutes. And it just, there's so much freedom with it. It doesn't feel like you're really wearing much of anything. We'll have to give it a few hours. It's 83 out right now to see if get really hot with it. But again, with the mesh back, you know, obviously you're going to have a little bit less, you know, heat retention from that. So we'll go ahead and start fishing and hopefully catch a couple fish, see if, you know, we have any you know, restrictions or impediments from you know, obviously trying to hook a fish or anything else like that, just from how much padding is in the front of the PFD. But nevertheless, let's get after it. Just paddling around again, I just, speaking about the amount of freedom that you have to be able to move, and somebody with obviously, you know, like shoulder pain and issues, I can attest, like sometimes restriction actually causes some of that pain to be a little bit more, and this doesn't have any sort of restriction at all. It's just, you have so much freedom to go ahead and, you know, paddle, move around however you need to, which is phenomenal. So I assume along with, you know, people's backs getting sore and whatnot, if you do have any sort of issues with, you know, being restricted, you just don't like the feeling or whatnot, might help with that too. But let's see if we can't get into a couple fish now. All right, we're still going to be fishing with the frog today, because I think that's probably one of the best ways to judge if, you know, a life jacket or a PFD is going to get in your way, just because it's so much of a vertical, you know, tight to your chest hook set versus, you know, obviously like a sweeping motion or something like that for a crankbait or spinnerbait or anything like that. So let's see, casting, no issues at all. It just doesn't seem to get in the way, just because you have so much freedom on the side of your arm. So I love that. And it is just super comfortable. So I don't know, I think it's pretty early, but pretty safe to say that I am very happy with this purchase. And if they are the #1 selling PFD for kayaks, I understand why. You can go cast both directions without anything. Yeah, I like it. But let's get into a fish now. Oh, well, got our first one miss it, and miss it again. Come on. Let's make it official. What are you? You like my frog. Had to come check it out a couple of times. Oh, I wasn't. Oh, did I lose him? I think I lost him. Yep. I don't know if that was a pike or what that was, but that was weird. Because it like swam straight at me really quickly. I don't have any bite marks, which is unfortunate. If it's a bass, we're not going to get him again, but let's see. You never know. I highly doubt it. We stung him, but if it's a pike, he might bite again. Felt him for a second inside the weeds, so probably didn't get a great hook set into him and just ripped it out of his mouth. No fish, unfortunately. After a couple hours of fishing, we only had a couple of bites, and only one fish actually had the bait, and we missed that one. So not the greatest frog fishing we've had all year. But lastly, our last test for this PFD is to see how well it floats. So let's go fall into the lake. We'll get out of the mat so we don't end up just absolutely covered in weeds. Plus it's only like 4 foot deep here also, so we will go find some deeper water and hopefully a little bit cleaner water and see how that goes. All right, and last thing to do is to go ahead and test how well she floats. Ideally, you never have to figure this out, and hopefully you never fall into a lake or a river, but you know, that's what it's there for, just in case. We went out to a deeper part of the lake, dropped anchor to 1, check the depth, and then 2, obviously to go ahead, and we don't want to lose the kayak in the process. We got our Crocs in off-road mode, so we don't lose one of those guys either. But let's go ahead and see. Oh, standing up is pretty wobbly, so that kind of makes this a little bit more easy, but here we go. Well, it did exactly what it was supposed to. It brought us right on up. It floats really, really well. It doesn't like choke you or anything like that when you are floating, so that's great. We did bring our glasses, which was kind of a bit of an oversight, but we didn't lose them, so that's good. But can't expect much more. If I do try and roll over, it does not flip you right side up. So again, it is a PFD, not necessarily a life jacket. But now we'll go ahead and go do some reviews of overall what we think. Water's a bit colder than I thought it'd be. Well, we are back home, all dried off. Ironically, as quickly as my clothes dried off, this thing is pretty close to dry also. Just with as much padding and fabric, you'd think it'd take a lot longer, but it really doesn't. It does have drain holes, which I guess I didn't recognize in the pockets and whatnot. So it's just another one of those features I guess you don't really think about until you need it. So they really did think about just about everything. So that's awesome. As far as this goes, I'm sure I said it enough out on the water. I absolutely love the thing. It's incredibly comfortable. Again, no restriction to range of motion at all. And it doesn't feel incredibly bulky when you're with it out there on the waters. I said it a number of times. The biggest thing with a PFD is just being comfortable, because if you're not wearing it, it's not going to help you when you need it. So I absolutely love the thing. $160 is a lot of money though. Like, if you have the ability to go ahead and buy it, I would. You can always find them on sale, or you can try and find them on sale. But if you have the means to go ahead and get one of these, I most certainly would recommend it. But if you guys have any recommendations with other PFDs, by all means go ahead and drop it in the comments section below. But As always, if you guys like the video, if you wouldn't mind liking, and if you want to see more videos like it, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that'd be greatly appreciated also. Till the next one.